started. Is the volume okay out that way, speakers? Carol, if you will pick up that microphone, just speak to it just a second. See this.
Turn it on.
Turn it on.
Testing.
Okay, they're on. I don't have any formal remarks prepared to start this off, so what we're going to do tonight, we've submitted, each of the candidates have, can y'all hear me? All right. Okay, each of the candidates, we gave them a list of 12 questions about 10 days, 2 weeks ago. The first 8 questions are general questions, kind of what I phrased them as. Each candidate will get 2 of those at random. The last 4 questions are policy related to the probate office, and each candidate will get 1 of those questions. I have a surprise question at the very end. It's nothing bad. It doesn't require any type of dancing or anything like that, but we'll get to that. It's nothing too serious. But I want to remind everybody that the election is June 20th. This is a special election. If there is a runoff after that election, it will be July 18th, which is 4 weeks later. So kind of keep that in mind for summer plans. You can vote in the runoff if you didn't vote in the first one. That's just something a lot of times people don't realize. I'm putting on my little election hat a little bit here. If you have any questions about the election, or if you want an absentee ballot, or if you have any questions about where you go to vote on election day, contact Ms. Lorraine White at the Board of Elections office. The early voting has already started, so someone's there every day now. So there shouldn't be a problem with that. What else? We want to thank the newspaper for putting this on, and thank the city for letting us use the facilities and getting everything ready for us and turning the air on this morning, bright and early. Thanks to the candidates and their families, of course, for their time tonight. They could be out knocking on doors or taking a rest, but they're here to answer some questions for the public. And of course, thanks to the voters and the citizens who came here tonight. And we're actually videoing this and planning to post it on YouTube. So we don't think this will take quite an hour. That depends on what we say up here. But like I said, it should be something you can watch or show folks or share online as well. Okay? With that, what I want each of y'all to do, if you will, just briefly introduce yourself. Don't have to get into qualifications or things like that, because those are going to pop up in the questions. But just who you are, where you live, your family, just the basic stuff. And I've got y'all in alphabetical order. I thought that was fair. So that means Ms. Carol Durrance gets to go first.
Okay. I am Carol Geiger Durrance, and I am originally from Atkinson. My parents was Richard and Juanita Geiger, and I have 2 sisters, Cynthia White and Maxine Corbett. I am married to Johnny Durrance, and I had 2 children, which was Wade Carver, and he's married to Haley Carver. And the late Talisa Durrance, which I have adopted her daughter, Salem. I have 2 grandchildren, which is Mackenzie and Bailey Carver. And that's about my life.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate Levins Gorley. I'm the daughter of the late Elijah Ruthley Levins. I am married to Winston Gorley, and which is fixing to be 30 years in July. We have 2 beautiful daughters, 2 wonderful son-in-laws, 3 great grandchildren. I mean great, not great. And then we got another one on the way, so we're excited about that.
Good afternoon. I am Teresa Minor. I am the daughter of the late Mr. Willie James Jackson, aka Peter Jackson, from Willacoochee, Georgia, and my mother was Coralie Bird Jackson. I am married to DeFranz Minor. We have 3 kids, Simeon Minor, Keely Minor, and Jaquini Minor. We have 1 granddaughter, 8-year-old Aaliyah Samara Minor, and that's about it, y'all.
I am Angie McGowan Odom, and I am the daughter of Jeffrey Hawk McGowan and the late Mac McGowan, granddaughter of Jeff and Pearl Hawk, and I'm married to Chad Odom, and we have 2 children, Bailey, who is just finished his first year of college, and Peyton, who is now a junior in high school. And we have no grandchildren.
All right. Thank you, ladies, for that. Our questions, like I said, they were submitted. I've had a couple people even mention tonight about, wanting to submit a question, but the two that were mentioned to me actually are on my list already. So we you could email questions in or bring them out of paper, and then we have some other questions that we lifted from a couple of other forums and some things online regarding probate court or general election type races. The first question is for Ms. Durrance. Carol, in your opinion, what makes a good judge, and what would you hope to accomplish in your first year as probate judge?
In my opinion, what makes a good judge will be a person who is like me, who would pray and seek God in all issues. Fairness, honesty, treat people with respect, be available for the people, keeping all things confidential, judge on case by case. I hope to accomplish in the first year that people will feel they have a place and a person to come to with their concerns, feel that they are treated fairly and with respect, that their concerns are given the utmost priority, and to see that all revenue and fees collected are disbursed to the correct agencies in a timely and continuously manner. Thank you.
I didn't mention when we first started, but anytime you feel like you want to clap after an answer, it's perfectly fine. I hate places to tell you can't clap. So just keep that in mind. Sorry for that on your question. We owe you a clap, so let's just do that. All right, Ms. Gorley, your question is, what do you perceive the duties of the probate judge to be?
I perceive the duties of the probate judge to be to prove that an individual is qualified for probate, to deal with the matters of probate and administration of estates, wills, and guardianship, to be custodian of birth certificates and death certificates, issue gun license, issue marriage license, and disperse all monies monthly.
Thank you. All right, our third question is for Ms. Minor. Personally and professionally, what makes you the best and most qualified candidate for the position of Atkinson County's next probate judge?
After working at the courthouse for 24 and a half years, I'm familiar with a lot of things that goes on. I was in the Clerk of Superior Court. For me, the same things is kind of similar to the probate court, which we handled. And as far as legal, I'm aware of the legal stuff, a lot of the legal. Some of it has changed. I'm familiar with that. But as far as privacy, I know that. I know confidential, I know that because I have worked with juvenile, criminals, civil, divorce cases, and that stuff is adoptions. That's private. I know how to handle people. Everybody's not going to be happy when they come in, but I can kind of talk to them and calm them down. Just dealing with people in general, I can handle that. I'm just a person. I'm just, after 24 years of experience with public, I'm pretty much qualified, I think. Thank you.
Good. Our fourth question is for Ms. Odom. Why did you decide to move from your current or previous job into becoming a public servant and working for the county if elected probate judge?
Well, I actually had thought about doing this in the last term, but I decided to move because I do know the office. I'm familiar with it and what goes on in that office. I also am in my church calling. I do a lot of public service in that calling, and I see the help that it does for people. I see the good that it does for people, and I know of the good that goes on in that office and the many people that you can help in that office. And it's it's a good office, and obviously it is a good job in our community. It's a good, office to be in. You get to be with the public all the time, and there's just a lot of people you get to come in contact with, but mainly you just get to help a lot of people, and it gives you a good feeling. So that's one of the main reasons.
See how easy that was for already. Our next question is number 5 on the list, and it's from Ms. Durrance. What specific goals do you hope to accomplish if elected to serve in this position?
My goals that I hope to accomplish while serving is to be fair and treat all people with respect. I will seek God's guidance in all areas of my life. If I don't have an answer, I will be honest and tell you that I don't know to give me a little while. I will go to the law books, seek counsel from experienced judges to get the correct answer. I'll be honest to the people. To make collecting and disbursement of money and revenue on a timely manner and at all times. To serve the people with integrity, honesty, and commitment.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Corley, question number 6 is for you. If elected to the office of probate judge, what changes would you make in the office, if any? When we did this question, I thought that's a little presumptuous because you may not know what needs changing, but with that in mind, just things, general things, or if you know anything specific.
If I'm elected, the first immediate change I would make is to implement a very strong system of check and balance when it comes to cash flow in and out of the office, and to maintain all monetary accounts. I would do this not at all to question the integrity of other employees, but because I will be an elected official, and will ultimately be responsible for the accountables to the citizens for all things in that office. Honestly, in my opinion, leadership is all about responsibility and accountability.
All right, question number 7 is for Ms. Miner. Turned on. What experiences in your personal life or with prior employment would you use to help manage the probate court's annual budget? The new budget for this year actually has just been in the paper. It's $140,000 is what the proposal is. So just kind of a ballpark figure of what the budget would be in that office.
As a property owner of 5 pieces of property in Atkinson County, and I know how expensive taxes are, and we all get a little sick of them sometimes, I would do the most important thing, which is whatever we can do to save money, we'll do. If it costs me to work a little bit more and a little harder, we'll do. Things that's unnecessary that's in the office, we won't do it. If we all stay on that team level, we'll be fine with the budget. Most important is my plans are to be in the office and be a judge and to do the things that need to be done. Things that in my past I can manage money. I can take a little bit and I can make a whole lot with it. I can manage money. I'm blessed that my property is paid off. I have no debt in my property. So I'm blessed in that area, and I've maintained, I budget my money. Over the years, hadn't made much money, but I can budget my money. That's one thing I can do. But other than that, just maintain the office and do what's right. If I know my budget is $140,000, that's all I got. If it takes cut back to even our employees, if we have 5 employees, we have to cut back, you gotta do what you gotta do. We gotta work together. Taxes, we pay enough taxes. I'm sick of taxes. Old people, they sick of it too. They don't even want to pay school taxes. They don't have kids in school. They fuss about it all the time. Anything to save $1, I'm with it. If it's appropriate. Thank you. Thank you.
I saw at least one county commissioner here, so that proposed budget may not end up being $140,000. $100,000, so don't hold me to that. Our final question of these 8 is for Ms. Odom. Andrew, describe the role you think the probate court and probate judge should play in the community, if any.
I don't think that the probate judge is obligated to play a huge role in the community. I personally think that just as a citizen, that we should be active in our community and do things in our community. As the probate judge, I think there are things that you're involved in that you end up just kind of obviously being involved in the community, but as far as being obligated to extra things outside of the probate office, I don't necessarily know that that's an obligation, but I definitely think as a citizen, like most of us, that we should be involved in our community regardless of what our position is in our job title is.
All right, these next 4 questions are the what I call policy or office-related questions. They were the last 4 on the list, the longer questions. So the first one is for Ms. Durrance. Since each of you would be new to this type of position, who would you turn to for answers, information, or general advice concerning issues to be decided in probate court after you attend the mandatory training in new judges school?
Being new to this position, who would I turn to for answers, information, or general advice concerning issues to be decided in probate court? First, I will pray and seek God's guidance in all I do, and then I would go to the law books and code books for probate judge. I would utilize my resources such as experienced judges, the county attorney for advice. Training in school should teach me the correct avenue to use. Thank you.
The next question is for Ms. Gorley. In this position, you will sometimes deal with cases involving mental